Fanatics isn't just our name, it's who we are. Loyal, passionate fans dedicated to our favorite teams and to the sports we love. That's why we're honored to be able to offer fans the world's largest collection of official sports apparel and sports jerseys from all the leagues, teams, and players you love. We feature a wide selection of gear from every league, including NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, and NCAA merchandise, which allows us to serve fans of football, baseball, hockey, basketball, lacrosse, soccer, golf, and everything else that gets your heart pumping. Go to fanatics.com by using the QR code on your screen right now to celebrate your teams.
And welcome in to another episode of Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Chad Bryan to my right, your left. I am Eli Moon, and we are rocking and rolling. Another busy week here on the Inside Edge Network. We're back for another week and a jam-packed week that we'll be talking about here today with you for the next hour. A jam-packed start to the week. Of course, midnight run with Anthony Alford after us, midnight to 1. But we'll be keeping you entertained until then, and we hope to do a good job of that. We tend to do so, I think, Monday through Thursday. Chad, how are you doing, my bro?
I'm doing pretty good. I can't believe it's Monday already, man. These weeks just fly by. Like my kids only have a few weeks of school left. I think they only have less than 25 days of school, and it's going to be summertime. Wow. I can't believe. I'm looking forward to summer, but man, time needs to slow down. But yeah, I'm doing pretty good, man. How are you doing?
Yeah, man. You're not lying. I'm doing good. I went to my niece's second birthday party yesterday.
Oh, yeah. How'd it go?
It was great, man. It was great. It was Trolls themed. I don't know. Have you ever seen the movie Trolls?
I have.
So I've seen like bits and pieces, but my niece like loves that movie.
Okay.
She checks on the well-being of the trolls. She's like, when the trolls run out, she's like, "Oh no, trolls, are you okay?" Right. And it's like the most adorable thing ever. So shout out Arrow, my niece. She just turned 2 yesterday. I had a great time. But you're not lying, man. Time is going fast. I'm 28. But then I'm like, dude, I'm not that old. And then I look back and my nephew just turned 4, my niece just turned 2, my little brother is going to be 25 next year. It's like a real wake-up call. That time's moving fast. And yeah, bro, but I'm doing good. It's great. It was 73 degrees here in Cleveland, warm weather. I think everybody in Cleveland has caught some sort of sickness or allergies or whatever. It's gone on for the last however many, days, weeks, years. But yeah, besides that, I'm doing good, man. Doing good. So, I mean, I may sound a little under the weather, but I'm feeling good. And the Browns draft didn't put me under the weather, so that's good. I was okay Thursday. Friday I was all right. Casey Concepcion almost had me freaking out, but Denzel Boston saves that. Chad, let's dive right into it here, man.
Let's
do
the
NFL draft. And we can talk about it from the Browns' point of view. We can talk about it from the overall concept. I just want to ask your thoughts. General question here. What did you think of the NFL draft? What stood out to you the most?
Well, first of all, I thought it was crazy that 800,000 people attended in person over the weekend. That's crazy. That's pretty cool. I know that people say it's just the draft, whatever. It's you don't really, but it's a big deal, man. It's a huge spectacle. I think people like that spectacle of like I don't know, just the prospect of everything, right? Like what could be the future or whatever. And it's fun. Everybody kind of likes the team build. I mean, fantasy football made that a thing for a lot of people. So I think people want to just watch, their favorite franchise just build for the future, right? Or build for the immediate future, the long future, whatever it is. So first of all, I thought that was pretty cool. Second, I mean, if you're asking me what I thought of the Browns draft, holy cow, man. I mean, I know it's really easy to say in April that a team won the draft. We do it every year. We're like, this team gets an A+. And sometimes it doesn't pan out that way. But I thought as far as filling holes and using value to fill those holes, I thought the Browns did a great job. And I've seen and heard some people, on social media, even on radio, locally here that are upset about the Taylor Green pick in the 6th round. And I'm not sure that you could. I don't really understand being upset about that pick. I think you take a guy with immediate impact, kind of raw athleticism. And yeah, he may be a project at quarterback, but I mean, who else would you have taken in the 6th round that would have stuck on the roster? A lot of guys aren't expected to even make the roster. 5th, 6th, 7th round guys are practice squad guys. They're they're guys that get cut before actual training camp starts. Sometimes it happens. Yeah, I'm not saying that that's the expectation or that's what's going to happen to all those guys, but I can't really see being upset about taking a flyer on a guy in the 6th round that has 6'6", 220 pounds. First of all, You heard Ryan Mosser on the Sunday morning sports show talking about all the records that he broke for quarterbacks at the combine, the 4.37 40. I mean, just a cannon arm. Yeah, he needs, some mechanical work, right? But I mean, Todd Monken has been there working with Lamar Jackson for a few years, and Lamar's won a couple MVPs. And listen, man, I don't know. I think you take a flyer on the kid. If he never pans out, you lost a 6th-round pick. So, in a lot of different ways. I thought this past, Thursday through whatever, the weekend was exciting, man. It was a lot of fun to watch, and I think the Browns really did themselves a service. I mean, I think they did a lot of really good things.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I've seen, reports, a discussion around the city of Taylor Green already needing to convert from being a quarterback to an athlete. And I think it's so crazy. Let the kid at least play a mini camp. I mean, my goodness gracious. He hasn't got to do any rookie mini camp, anything like that. We're already talking about where he would look good elsewhere on the field. Here's the reality of the situation. The Cleveland Browns have a quarterback controversy, a quarterback discussion, whatever have you, with Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders. Sure. If you want to throw Dylan Gabriel in, sure, go for it. But obviously it's between Shedeur and Deshaun Watson. And Taylor Green, respectfully, has a chance to make some impact. Well, am I going to say he's going to win the starting job? No. But at this point, who has really proven that they can put together a 17-game stretch? And I love Shedeur Sanders. I think he is the guy. But just being fair to everybody in the room for a moment here, who has proven that they can do a 17-game stretch, stay healthy, and compete? We haven't seen it out of Deshaun Watson. He can't stay healthy, and when he does get on the field, it's lackluster. You see with Shedeur Sanders, I think there's improvement there, and he's had those moments. And Taylor Green, we'll have to see. But, we'll go from there and kind of see how the Browns improve. Another thing that stood out to me, too, about the Browns draft is the addition of Denzel Boston. Denzel Boston makes me feel a lot better about Casey Concepcion. You know what? If you're going to run in the slot now, go 5-10 yards and get distance, and you have Boston as a deep threat down there on the field, and if Jerry Jeudy can find a little bit more semblance of hands this year, then we're in a better spot with Casey Concepcion. I mean, that's the reality of the situation. And there's going to be people out there that already are. They're saying, why did he go in the first round? Why was he the first-round pick? Why not Boston? Because that's where the drafts had him going. The drafts had him. He was probably going to get taken by another team in that late first round, taking a chance on him. And if you're the Browns, you don't want to take that risk. You'd rather go get Denzel Boston later on. So that's kind of where I look at it for the Browns. And the other thing, too, Chad, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts, but Emmanuel McNeil-Warren out of Toledo, the safety, everybody wanted Caleb Downs. Everybody in Cleveland, when the Browns traded down and he was still on the board, well, the Browns traded down to get Downs, right? Wrong. We talked about it so many times on this show on Primetime. We've talked about it on this network on various shows about defense not needing to be the way they go in the first round. They have huge holes at offensive line and receiver, and I'm proud that I'm proud of the Browns. It's very rare on this network I will say I'm proud of them, but they did exactly what we asked of them. They drafted 3 linemen, 2 tackles, a center. They addressed tight end twice, receiver twice. They took a stab at a quarterback, took a chance there at, with the 6th-round pick with Taylor Green. And I think Emmanuel McNeil-Warren could be a difference maker. I mean, maybe we see another flash defensively like we saw with Carson Schwarzenegger last year.
Yeah, I mean, well, a lot of people, and I kind of started referring to him, and I think it's a weird saying. I've never liked it before, but it's kind of true in this case. He is a little bit like he's like the poor man's Caleb Downs, and I'm not going to say that again. I promise I'm going to stop saying that. But I think you get a guy who's, and again, Caleb Downs is, I think, a generational talent. Okay, he's not Caleb Downs, but he's a guy who can play a little bit like Caleb Downs. He's got some of those traits, the high football IQ, the good motor. He's a hitter, right? He's a physical guy, pretty good at sitting back. He's not a burner. He runs a 4.5, but he can sit back and play. You don't need to be a burner to play safety. He can sit back and play center field. He's good. He's really good at getting to the ball. He just does a lot of things really well that you want your safeties to do. Yep. And you don't have to pay him like a top 10 pick. I mean, that's a good thing, right? While we're being honest, I mean, you can pay him like a 2nd-round pick. It's not the premium money. So if he can come in and make some plays that are reminiscent of what Caleb Downs can do, then I think you've done a great job, snagging him in the 2nd round. Man, the 2 2nd-round picks are just are exemplary, I think, from the Browns. Denzel Boston, you go get your size on the outside, and then EMW, you get your safety that's similar in traits in some ways to Caleb. I'm not going to say that they're going to have the same career, but he's similar in some ways to Caleb Downs. I thought it was just, again, really smart picks. And Boston, like you said, kind of totally saved the Concepcion pick, because now you look at Casey Concepcion, he's a weapon out of the slot. He can be a weapon in the kick return game, punt return game, whatever. And he complements Denzel Boston, because now I think you can, with Harold Fannin there, I think you can do a lot of different things with route trees and kind of split
Yeah.
defenses and really create some open space now.
Yeah. No, I agree, pal. And I think it's so interesting what they've done. I mean, I know Mel Kiper, I believe, was giving them an A on the draft. Look, let's just see these guys play. I'm happy how they drafted, but draft grades are.
Can we hold off on draft grades for 5 years? Can we just let them get through the rookie contract and then draft, then give draft grades? Is that okay?
I mean, but the Emmanuel McNeil Warren pick really is one of my most excited for picks the Browns made.
Right.
Catherine Hickman in the Browns front office spoke about just his choosing to stay at Toledo. Right? He started at JUCO. Went to stay at Toledo, had offers, and he stayed. And she said that was very remarkable, considering that a lot of athletes now are transferring pretty much every year if there's not an opportunity or a better opportunity out there. And I think that kind of shows that the Browns were looking for somebody to stay loyal, to rock with them. Kind of with all the stuff going on in the offseason, right? The loyalty discussion with the Jim Schwartz stuff. And, is Myles Garrett loyal to the Browns? And that seems to be the big discussion. Are people loyal to the Cleveland Browns? Or are the Cleveland Browns loyal to them? And it seems like with this McNeil Warren pick, the Browns went out and got somebody that they feel, okay, this could be a guy we could build around in that safety position for a minute. And Grant Delpit's back there. Defense got stronger. I'm happy with it, but they addressed what they absolutely needed to. And for anybody out there, let me just make this note. Okay, right here on Primetime. Spencer Fano is the best offensive tackle in the draft. He was, he is, he will be. Okay. I'm confident saying that. Yeah. I think anybody out there still questioning if he's a right tackle going to left tackle has simply not done their homework. And I'd advise anybody out there to do their homework, because Spencer Fano moved over to right tackle after being a player of the year at left tackle. Yeah. Because if not, Caleb Lamu, who went in the first round this year as well, may not have been on the field till literally this upcoming fall.
Hey, I'm one of those people that needed to do my homework, Eli. I didn't like it at first. I didn't love I told you, I've said it before the draft. I said, please don't draft a right tackle and try to move him to the left side. And then when it happened, I did a little bit more of my homework on Spencer Fano, and I said, you know what? If anybody can handle it, though, it's going to be this kid. He's played extensively at left tackle. He's been very, very good there. So I was one of those people that needed to do my homework, and I did my homework, and I think I came to the right answer. I'm happy with it. We'll see. Again, we'll see. Let me ask you this. Yes. While we were talking about quarterbacks, we were talking about Taylor Green, and what'd you think of some of the where some of the quarterbacks went and notably didn't go? How about one of the Heisman finalists from last year not getting drafted? I don't know that it's a huge surprise, but first time in maybe ever. I'm not sure. I don't know how. I don't know.
12 years.
12 years.
12 years. Last time would be Jordan Lynch, actually, out of Northern Illinois. Sure is, buddy. What, you were 28 12 years ago?
Oh, let's not talk about. No. I wish. Buddy. Let's move on.
Moving on. Jordan Lynch out of Northern Illinois. He was the quarterback at Northern Illinois. He was the last Heisman finalist not to be drafted. But there wasn't a ton of buzz draft stock for him. He was just a very strong college player. And that's kind of what I'm assuming you're talking about. Diego Pavia.
I was talking about Diego Pavia. Yeah.
I mean, let's dive into it for a moment. He didn't get drafted. Yeah. He did get invited to the Ravens minicamp. Mm-hmm. Their opportunity there. And, there's discussion from Pat McAfee on Twitter about if he should go to the UFL, that he'd be a great face for the UFL. Now, Pavia, very known to be outspoken. Mm-hmm. He was outspoken against the Heisman voters, that they basically didn't feel, they got the decision wrong, that they were wrong. Other choice words. He also spoke out on John Gruden's QB camp with Barstool Sports, I believe, and he spoke out about how, I don't think it's right that an agent represents me and gets 5 to 10% of my money. That's my money. Well, like I said yesterday at Main Event, if you're watching last night, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Diego Pavia, here's the thing, buddy. Mm-hmm. Nobody's taking your money because you don't have any money as far as the riches you were expecting maybe the beginning of the year when you were Vanderbilt's quarterback. Yeah. And he's done it to himself, Chad, because if he would have just, honestly, here's the thing I've learned. And being a brand in the community, with the collective, with Lahele, with the music community, with here on the network, what I've learned is you're a brand, especially when you're in the public eye. You are a brand. Yeah. And everything you say or do or how you move is going to be evaluated.
It's forever associated with you. Forever.
Yeah. Yeah. And the reality of the situation, Chad, I'm curious your thoughts, but the reality of the situation is I think if Diego Pavia probably wouldn't have said 2 or 3 of these sound bites, he may have been a flyer like a Taylor Green and been a 6th, 7th round pick instead of having to go fight at minicamp to see if he can be the backup for Lamar Jackson. I just think he played himself, right? I played himself.
Yeah, I think it's the abrasive personality. I mean, listen, I get it. You feel like you're being genuine, and I can relate to having a little bit of a problem with authority. I understand those kind of things, and the chip on your shoulder, the feeling like an underdog or whatever. I get all that stuff, but I think sometimes you have to internalize that a little bit more, right? Like we thought Baker Mayfield said shocking things, during the end of his college career to the beginning of his NFL.
Yeah.
Always said Baker Mayfield's so outspoken, but man, Diego Pavia is very, very, and you could say outspoken, but you could also say extreme. And like I said, it's just the personality is abrasive. And I think there are 32 owners that have probably just seen enough of that, right? It's a cautionary tale. You see the guys that come in like that, doesn't usually go well, right? They don't ingratiate themselves with their teammates very well. They don't make friends around the league. There's nothing marketable other than people just want to see them fail, right? And it's like, there's plenty of ways to fail in the NFL. You don't have to come in as a loudmouth and with the abrasive. I mean, no one wants to see that. No one wants to hear it, really.
Yeah.
And if you do, I guess, well, then okay, maybe I'm wrong. But I think that's what's going to keep owners and coaches and teammates and things that probably disinterested in Diego Pavia for the most part. I mean, he is getting an opportunity with the Ravens in minicamp, so good for him. I'm not, I don't wish ill will upon anybody. He's got time to grow up and whatever, he can mature, or maybe he won't. I don't know. Maybe he acts the way he sees fit. I have no idea, but I'm just saying I think that's that's what's contributed to his situation right now, probably.
Yeah, and I know we got to go to break here in a moment, but I'll say this: the contribution, or excuse me, the confidence, but it just an over abundance of confidence. And I'm never one to knock confidence, but the confidence to where you are just saying anything you think is correct, and nobody can go against you because you're Diego Pavia. You turn Vanderbilt around. Well, you're also an undersized quarterback that unfortunately says things that a lot of NFL teams aren't going to want their leader of their franchise to be saying. So that's what it comes down to as well. Definitely don't wish anything bad. In terms of we'd like to see him succeed. We here on Inside Edge Primetime, we want to see everybody succeed. But the reality of the situation is, it is sports. Mm-hmm. Somebody's got to win. Somebody's got to lose. Somebody's got to not make a team. And Diego Pavia might be the odd man out because of things he said, all the way back to the Heisman finalist night, the Heisman Trophy celebration. So
if all else fails, Eli, be marketable, right? I mean, if all else fails, I mean, you might get a shot if you're marketable, but that personality, those things, those words, really marketable.
Not at all, pal. Yeah. The other thing, we're going to go to break here. You asked about quarterbacks that were notable. Drew Aller going, I believe, 76th overall to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
That was very interesting. And we'll talk about that later this week. I think Drew Aller we might have just saw the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers be drafted. And Kyle Cornell, who's on Unfiltered with Kyle Cornell, got some exciting news here on the Inside Edge Network coming up with that soon. But he brought up on his debut episode about Drew Aller before the draft and how he believes he is, I believe, one of the best, if not the best, quarterbacks in this draft. So I'm definitely curious to hear what Kyle's thoughts are. We'll actually have him on tomorrow night here on Inside Edge Primetime. So make sure you follow Inside Edge Net, like, subscribe to all the great stuff. We'll have him on. We'll be discussing his show, Unfiltered with Kyle Cornell, what to expect with that. And obviously we'll get his thoughts, takes on the draft. How about that?
Or his thoughts. Yeah, whatever.
Something like that. Tater tots, we're rocking.
Ooh. Why do you do this to me? You can't say food stuff, man.
We do the BA Sweeties commercial, and shout out all our great sponsors. Check out the QR code with Chad right above his head there. It'll take you to InsideEdgeNetwork.com/partners where you can check out BA Sweeties. You can check out all of the great stuff, Fanatics, and some other sponsors as well. Not to mention AlleyRoseFragrances.com. We'll have Dubby Energy. We'll have Mosser Moments. And, of course, Sports Memorabilia. We have some great stuff coming up. We appreciate all of our great sponsors. You'll hear from them later on in the show. Of course, you've heard from Fanatics. You've heard from BA Sweeties. Go to the code. Check it out. And, of course, like we mentioned, yeah, that's right, pal. Like and subscribe in Inside Edge Net on all the socials. And there's a website for you where you can get to all the great stuff. All right. That was a lot here. We appreciate you staying locked in with us. Yes. Chad and I are both under the weather, so together we have one working, functional brain. And we think we did all right so far.
That's way more than normal for us, so we're doing pretty good.
We're doing pretty damn good. So that's Chad Bryan. I'm Eli Moon. This is Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. When we come back, we're going to talk about those Guardians. It was a little rough in Cleveland today, but it's a cavalry on the way, Chad.
Maybe. We'll talk about it
when we get back. We'll talk about it when we get back. This is Inside Edge Primetime. That's Chad Bryan. I'm Eli Moon. We're back right after this.
Hey, I got something to show you guys. Take a look. It is spring. Happy spring to all of you. Take a look at what we have here for you from AlleyRoseFragrances.com. Beautiful spring scent candles here for you. Hand poured with premium fragrance and essential oils. How about this? Our coconut soy wax candles bring fresh, uplifting spring scents to your home. Made with clean, natural ingredients, they're a mindful choice for sensitive spaces and those who love effortless seasonal fragrances. You got to check it out right now. There's the soft bloom and the lemon bar candles, all healthy ingredients, all from AlleyRoseFragrances.com. And if you're a first-time customer, use the promo code InsideEdge20. That's InsideEdge20. Get this for yourself, for your friends, family, everyone. You want a good smelling home, AlleyRoseFragrances.com will make it happen. Again, AlleyRoseFragrances.com. Get the new spring candles. And when you order, if you're a first-time customer, InsideEdge20 is the promo code.
Mosser Moments Photography is a husband and wife wedding photography team based in Cleveland, owned and operated by Ryan and Hallie Mosser. For the past 10 years, they've captured more than 100 weddings across Northeast Ohio and beyond, always working together as a true two-person team. Their style centers on authentic, emotional storytelling, documenting the real moments between two people in love and creating images that feel natural, comfortable, and true to the couple. Rooted in Northern Ohio, but inspired by their travels, Ryan and Hallie bring a warm, personal approach to every wedding day. Their work blends experience, consistency, and a genuine passion for helping couples relive their best day through timeless photography. Learn more at MosserMomentsPhotography.com.
And welcome back to Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Chad Bryan, he's over there somewhere to my right, which would be your left. I'm Eli Moon, and we are back. Chad's hitting the shoulder turn. You know we're off to a good start. When his shoulders are moving, he's 46 years old in case you were wondering. So when his shoulders are moving like that, he might be a second-round talent. Not a first-round, buddy. Sorry, you're yeah, but second round in my eyes for sure.
Hey, I'm good. Undrafted free agent. I'm fine. Just give me a chance.
Well, you know what? If Diego Pavia gets a minicamp opportunity, maybe we can get you one.
Yeah, I'm slightly less abrasive. Yeah.
You are. You're a nice guy, pal. You're a nice guy, pal. You know, it wasn't nice. Progressive Field today. I'm sure it was nice. 73 degrees. It was a beautiful day, and the Guardians had the lead in the 8th inning. Hunter Gaddis goes up there. They're up 2-1. I'm sitting there. It's so funny because Papa Moon, he goes out there and he records his Sunday soul check, which it's Monday. So he recorded it on Monday because he forgot to do it yesterday because he had so much fun at the party that he recorded his Sunday soul check. He walked out. Let me give you an idea here. He walks out as the inning's starting, top of the 8th.
Oh.
It's 2-1. He comes back in because he chilled outside, enjoyed some of the rest of the sunshine. He comes back in, Chad. It is 3-2 Rays in that same inning. Guardians do fall to the Rays 3-2 today. Hunter Gaddis in the bullpen, and I don't want to put it all on Gaddis, but I mean he did give up the runs, I believe.
Yeah, he got out. Yeah, I mean that's
Yeah. But it's just that bullpen, man. Chad, I mean I don't know where to start. I mean I know everybody's gonna harp on the offense. We got some news here. Talk about it in a second when it comes to the Guardians and maybe some cavalry and relief on the way for the Guardians offensively.
Hopefully it's a bullpen guy. No, it's not.
It sure ain't. And that's the question. It's just like we talked about Kate Smith. We talked about Hunter Gaddis now today. I mean. It just seems like this bullpen's all out of sorts. And we don't ever bring up the Emmanuel Clase effect because we don't really care for Emmanuel Clase, obviously, here after the stunts he pulled. But seems like, we've had a little bit of trouble. Cade Smith really did well last year, but this year's not been the prettiest. Hunter Gaddis, I know he was injured to start the year. It just seems like he's struggling a little bit here and there. There's just no real structure to the bullpen, and it cost the Guardians a win today where they were up. Parker Messick had a great game. He had 9 strikeouts, tied his season high, and that'd be his career high. He's a rookie for those just tuning in to Cleveland baseball. And it's disappointing that this is the result, right?
Yeah, it is. I think he tied that from that start in Atlanta, by the way, against the Braves. But yeah, Messick has been really, really good. The starters have been great. You've had some stuff with Tanner Bybee, maybe some mechanical, whatever, just figuring stuff out at the beginning of the year, and that's fine. That happens. But yeah, the bullpen's been out of sorts. And I think sometimes when you lose your closer, when you lose your 9th inning guy, listen, the bullpen's kind of a weird group of guys anyway, right? It's funny when there's like a brawl, the bullpen all comes in at the same time. They got the little satin jackets. Maybe I'm thinking back to the 90s a little too much, but yeah, they all come jogging in with the jackets. Some guys don't even have their hats on. They're not even ready. Right. It's just like it's a family, man. And it doesn't matter what the reason is. Yeah, I'm sure they're not happy with Clase, and whatever happened, whatever went down with him was wild, unprecedented, really. It's crazy that, of course, we're talking about this in Cleveland. Somebody made a comment about Mike Vrabel. Like, if the Browns would have hired him and that would have come out with him as the head coach of the Browns, it would have been the most Browns news. But this is Cleveland, right? We expect these things. So, unprecedented, unbelievable, really. But it happened, and you're moving on. And I think when you lose your 9th inning guy, it just throws the whole bullpen out of whack. And you can see Stephen Vogt just, he's scrambling right now, trying to find some kind of order to get people out, right? That's the goal. You want to get guys out. So I don't know. Until someone settles into the closer role, I think, and then it kind of starts to fall in place back, right? It falls from the 9th inning back. If you can get your starters to get you through 5 2/3, 6 innings with a lead, if you're going to win a division and win a World Series, you expect to win those baseball games. It's unforgivable to lose as many games as the Guardians have, and it's early. They can turn it around, but you got to do it quickly.
Yeah, the bullpen was rough today, Chad, and the offense. I was disappointed by the end. The bottom of the 9th, Manzardo gets on. DeLauder brings him over to third. He gets it. Both the winning run is literally on second, and they have 1 out, and it just embarrassing. I've been using that word a lot.
It's been the story for years. You have runners in scoring position, right? If you're a Cleveland Indians, Guardians fan, however you've been along, with the team, RISP, those letters probably haunt your dreams, right? They're just never very good with runners in scoring position. It's frustrating. I couldn't even finish the word. I said runners in scoring position. I didn't want to finish it because it's like, you've heard it before. You knew what I was going to say.
Yeah, it's tough, man. And we can harp on the offense all we want, but they were up 2-1 in the 8th inning. They did enough to put them in position to where if you have a strong enough bullpen, which the Guardians have been able to rave about in the past, you get that game won. You're at home. You should have. I don't know. It's losses like this. It's April. I get it's April. But you still have to follow trends. We talked about that at the beginning of the season. You still have to follow trends. And right now, the Guardians have not been trending super hot when it comes to handing the ball off from the starting pitcher, if it's Messick or whoever, to the bullpen. And that is a problem, Chad, because this offense could score 4 to 5 runs. I still would feel nervous about them when they go to the bullpen.
This is what you get sometimes with a, and I won't even say a smaller market team because, the Guardians are owned by. Listen, ownership could spend more money, right? I think we all know that. So I want to say this is what you get with owners who won't spend the money. You're going to have a deficiency somewhere. Right now, you have it offensively and in the bullpen. You've got great starting pitching, but the offense can't score, and the bullpen. That's what you say in the South. The bullpen can't stop anybody from scoring, and I think that's kind of a big problem. So you're going to have to get one of those ends figured out a lot sooner than later.
Yeah, I agree. And we can talk about the offense as well. We've harped on the bullpen enough. Seems like the offense, up and down, we kind of been keeping an eye on them. The Guardians have offensive outbursts, and they have 2 runs, which, again, should have been enough for today. But 2 runs today, 2 runs yesterday, 3 runs on Saturday, had an 8-run explosion, but then 2 runs, 8 runs, 4. So, here's the reality of the situation. The Guardians' offense, more often than not, are scoring.
Yeah.
So I'm not really going to harp on them.
Yeah.
But if you need an extra bat to bring the guys in, because that's what it comes down to. It's not about like they're hitting the long ball, they're bringing in quick runs. But if you want somebody that can consistently bat well for you, I think we have our guy. Jeff Passan from ESPN reported, he's not the guy we're looking for, but thank you, Jeff Passan. He reported that the Guardians are going to call up top prospect and former number 1 overall pick, Travis Bazzana.
Yes.
Chad, we've been on Bazzana watch literally since the season started, before the season started. Even last season, I feel like we were on Bazzana watch.
Yeah.
And he is officially in Cleveland. I believe Tuesday is going to be his debut. This is very exciting news. With Juan Brito getting an opportunity, and the Guardians trying to see if they could at least wait a little bit longer. It wasn't going to work out. Brito just pretty poor offensively and defensively right now. He's got to go figure that out. And
he'll make a play every once in a while. He'll like flash some really good leather, and then
for
a while,
100%. But with him and Arias on the IL, it's time for Bazzana,
Yeah, 287 right now in AAA. The OPS, I'm looking at the OPS right now. It's I lost it. Was looking at it. It's 933. He's got a couple of home runs. It seems like the gap-to-gap power numbers are there. I mean, again, the 287, 422 on base, 511 slugging. It tells you he's ready. He doesn't strike out a whole lot more than he walks. He's got 25 strikeouts, 21 walks. So it seems like the strike zone presence, the patience is there. I think you may find him. He may. Well, I don't know. I don't want to predict anything, but sometimes when guys have a little bit of trouble in AAA, it's like I've said this to you before. Younger guys will say they get to the majors and it's almost easier to hit because the pitchers are more in the strike zone, right? In the majors, yeah they have better stuff, but you see more consistent strikes. So sometimes that happens. Hopefully that's a thing with Bazzana. Hopefully he can crank it up a little bit, and I mean if he becomes a 300 hitter and he can give you 15. 18, 20 home runs down the stretch. You hope he can, because right now, I mean, you've seen the Guardians kind of slide out of first place. The Tigers have taken over first place by half a game. So they're going to have to get something going. Like I said, they're going to have to figure out something on offense. If you add a bat, great. Maybe find someone that maybe they project long-term as a starting pitcher in the minors, but let's bring them up and see how they can adjust to bullpen life, because you've got to find someone down there to get outs. Pretty consistently. But I'm excited about Bazzana. I'm excited to see what he can do.
Yeah, we were talking, me and Papa Moon before the show, and we were it may be a little too early, but maybe Matt Tugboat Wilkinson, who I believe is in Akron right now, I believe boasting a below 2 ERA.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe the whole discussion of how that started was Papa Moon was like, don't we have the Little League World Series kid was like the very famous? And I'm like, there ain't no way, Pops. There ain't no way. So we spent like a solid 5 to 10 minutes trying to find what was going on. Matt Tugboat, and it turns out Tugboat was the kid in the Little League World Series that was the famous. I know him as Tugboat Wilkinson, who's taking care of business in Akron right now. I think he could be something interesting for the Guardians bullpen wise. But to pivot back to Bazzana for a moment, I think we talked about he needs to find a little bit more momentum. He is batting a little bit better, like you mentioned, 287 batting average, a little bit of pop in the bat. I think just adds a spark. With DeLauder is a power hitter. I know everybody was excited, and I was too, about him being above 300, almost at, over 400 after the first 2 games. I mean, I get it. But let's be real. He is a power hitter. He's going to make very strong contact with the ball, but it's going to usually go over the yard, or it's going to probably line out to an outfielder. I mean, that's the reality of the situation. I mean, I know he roped one in the right field today in the 9th inning, but reality of the situation is he's going to probably bat 220 to 250. That is his range. We're just hoping for the power. Same thing with Manzardo. So that's why you hope this Travis Bazzana call-up.
And 30-plus home runs, yep.
Exactly, and that's why you hope the Travis Bazzana call-up, Chad, is the guy that can bat. He's batting 287 right now. Hopefully he can bring that up and at least be around there, 280, 290. I mean, that'd be ideal for the Guardians.
Even 260, Eli. I mean, honestly, like a guy, I mean, it'd be great. So.
Yeah, it would be, and I hope, we're looking at a lineup, you move over. I mean, what do you do with Bryan Rocchio? It seems like, we talked about the numbered days for him and Gabriel Arias.
Yeah.
Rocchio, it could be a situation where Daniel Schneemann ripping the cover off the ball. I think 13 consecutive games he's had a hit or reached base. So Daniel Schneemann could very easily, as a utility player, move over to short for the time being. Bazzana comes up and is going into his natural position at second base.
Yeah.
And Bryan Rocchio's chilling on the bench until we figure out what to do with them. I mean, that seems to be the reality of the situation. I mean, the Guardians need to have consistent offense. And like I said, they've kind of proven us wrong a little bit the last 10 days in terms of 4 runs here, 8 runs here. And they've provided some pop. We also know how this offense gets, though, later on in the year. So it's good to address it now before it becomes a problem.
Yeah, and maybe that's the reason for the call-up. Maybe it's because, you've got so many guys that are getting shuffled around for different reasons that, well, here's Bazzani. He can play his natural position. We don't have to worry about transitioning him, to left field or right field or wherever, right?
Yeah.
You can bring him up and he can play at second base now because of kind of how things have fallen. And by the way, while we're talking about the bullpen, Cal Steven is still down here in Double-A. He's going pretty well. I mean, he can touch 97, 98 with his fastball. You can't tell me that he can't come in with that fastball slider combo and get guys out for one inning right now out of the bullpen.
Yeah, but they might. At the same point, though, you just brought up about Bazzana. They may not want to mess with him. He's a starter. He's a guy that could
Pitcher's pitch, though, man. Listen, if you got to use him out of the bullpen for a little bit, I think he'd be fine with that. I don't know what his mindset is on that.
Yeah, but not everybody's Kerry Wood. In fairness,
okay.
Not everybody can be Kerry Wood. Sometimes when you make that switch, it's a little bit harder to go. If you spend a whole season pitching an inning or an inning in the third, then you go back to 7. I think that it is a switch. So I think they're going to be careful with one of their top pitching prospects.
Yeah, I think early though in a guy's career, I think it's easier to bring him up, in the bullpen and then stretch him out rather than bring him up as a starter and try to bracket him down into the bullpen. I think that's mentally, I think it's a little bit easier to stretch him out further. So we'll see.
Yeah, definitely fair. You know what? I'm not opposed to bringing Cal Steven up if it's the right situation. I just get a little fearful, just the same as you with Bazzana, calling him up a little too early and putting him into his position that really he didn't ask for, to be honest. And, with the questions of it. Yeah, he sure would. But, the questions of Tanner Bybee, and I know we got to go break here, but the questions of Tanner Bybee and the questions of, these guys, can they put together a full, strong season again?
Yeah.
He'll be the first guy up in opening day if he were to wait down. But we'll see. They brought Bazzana up, so I think everything's on the table. This is the season before the probable lockout, so yeah, bud, it's gonna get a little interesting here. But we got a lot of baseball left. Don't get sad. I know you're a big baseball guy. Don't get sad. It just started, okay?
Well, I'm not too sad. The Braves have the best record in the league right now. They're 20-9. So
ain't that something?
The National, and I didn't think they would start out like this at all.
Oh, I know. I know.
You heard me say they're injured. They've got this problem, that problem. And they're not even playing well. Austin Riley's barely hitting 200. Ronald Acuna Jr. hasn't started going yet. The rest of the NL East is it's really wonky right now, man. The Mets and the Phillies are playing really bad baseball. So we'll see if it holds up. I don't know. Hey,
we got a whole lot of baseball left for you, and we'll talk about it throughout the upcoming weeks here on Inside Edge Primetime. If you enjoyed all the content, enjoyed our content all week long last week, we do that every week, and we got a lot of great content coming for you. Even more exciting announcements to come here on the Inside Edge Network. If you tune in for our draft special, you obviously see that we cover all the breaking news, the big events, and we also give you daily breakdowns as well. Chad and I are here with you right now, Monday through Thursday, here on Inside Edge Primetime. But stay tuned. We got some really exciting stuff that we'll announce to you probably tomorrow, if not later this week. So
change, we don't know.
It could. Make sure you like and subscribe, though. Inside Edge Net on all the socials. Show us some love. We'll show you love back. We are Cleveland's digital leader and your source for sports, entertainment, mental health conversations, so much more. And we couldn't do it without you. We truly, truly appreciate you for tuning in every single night and showing the love. And you know what? We always say, turn it up in the comment section. Give us some comments. We like to engage with you. We'll put the comment up on the screen, rock out with you. But yes, like and subscribe, all the great stuff, Inside Edge Net on all the socials. Make sure you go to the QR code above Chad's head. That takes you to our partners page, all the great stuff you've been seeing, our sponsors throughout the night, Fanatics, Alley Rose Fragrances. You've seen from Monster Moments. You've also seen from from BA Sweeties. So we got some really good stuff here. We got also going to hear from Monster Moments, Sports Memorabilia. So we appreciate all of our great partners as well. Make sure you go to the website, InsideEdgeNetwork.com. And you could be a cool kid like Chad Bryan, get an Inside Edge Network polo or a hat or any of that great stuff that we have on the website. We have mugs. We're working on a lot of great stuff. Double-A, we were talking about moon shoes yesterday. So maybe, we get moon shoes eventually. But for now, you can get a cool polo and all those great stuff. Absolutely. Absolutely. A lot of great colors, a lot of great options. InsideEdgeNetwork.com. That's the website. That's where you'll find all the good stuff. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Chad and I, we're going to take a pause. You grab your caffeine, you grab your dinner, grab whatever you need. When we come back, we're going to talk about those Cavaliers. Goodness gracious, are they ready to come back home to Cleveland? We'll talk about that. We'll talk about a little bit around the NBA as well. Detroit and Orlando just finished up, I believe, or just finishing up. We also have Phoenix and OKC. Okay, we got a little Southern accent going on today, pal. But Phoenix and OKC going on. And then, of course, we got some more NBA playoff action we'll talk as well. That's after the break here. After a word from our sponsors, this is Inside Edge Primetime. That's Chad Bryan. I'm Eli Moon. Back after this.
Whether you're searching for a baseball autographed by your favorite World Series slugger, a signed football by an iconic Hall of Famer, or the jersey of a world-famous soccer star, you've come to the right place. Here at sportsmemorabilia.com, the web's leading source of authentic sports memorabilia, you'll find more than 500,000 authentic products from nearly every professional sports league, team, and player. Not only will you find your next prized sports possession with ease thanks to superb customer service and tremendous site experience, but you'll have the satisfaction and peace of mind that every product listed comes complete with a certificate of authenticity and is fully backed by the sportsmemorabilia.com lifetime authenticity guarantee. Clean energy, bold flavors, no jitters. See why people won't shut up about Dubby. Clean energy, no jitters or crash, helps you lock in and focus. Over 15 absolute fire flavors to choose from. Visit Dubby.gg and use promo code InsideEdge10.
And welcome back to Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Chad Bryan, he's over to my right, which would mean he's over to your left. Boom. I'm Eli Moon. This is Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. Give us a follow, Inside Edge Net, on all the social. Like, subscribe, all that great stuff. If you're enjoying the content, we appreciate you from the east to the west and down south and up north and all over the United States and across the country, across the world, tuning on in. We appreciate you so much. If you're just not tuning in, we've covered quite a bit of Cleveland today. A lot going on in Cleveland this past weekend and today, and I mean between the Guardians and the Browns with their draft, and the Guardians. I mean, it typically would just be a status quo, whatever. You lost money, you blew it, the bullpen blew it. We'll just have a discussion. Then they call it Travis Bazana, so we're having a different discussion about the Guardians. That's why they made it a little bit earlier in the show, which is crazy because midnight run. I talked to Double A Anthony Alford, and I know we have, we had about 10 minutes or so till we have to wrap up, Chad, so I'll be quick here. But if you need a reason to tune in the midnight run, let me just say I talked to one Anthony Alford earlier today, and I asked him about the Cavaliers. I said, how you feeling about the Cavs, bud? I've never been left on red by somebody for 8 to 10 hours wondering how mad somebody could be. And I won't find out till tonight at midnight when he discusses. All he's told me is we're talking Cavs. So it could get a little unhinged, could get a little rough. Make sure you tune in midnight to 1 a.m. here on the Inside Edge Network right after Chad and I. It'll be a new stream. I always like to set that precedent too. If somebody's like, well, hey, why did it disappear? And we are going to set a new stream. Sometimes we merge, but we're going to have Double A. So keep a lookout. Midnight, a new stream will go out, and I'll be producing that here on the Inside Edge Network. All right, Chad. Let's dive into it. We got the Cavaliers. We'll talk some Cavs here, kind of prep the people for Double A's reactions. But let's talk the Cavs, okay? They lost 93-89 to the Toronto Raptors. They are tied 2-2 in the series. Let me ask you this. Are you concerned? Are you concerned now about the Cavaliers?
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I think who could have watched those two games in Toronto and say, this team can still win a championship. They're fine. I mean, there are huge concerns. Listen, let's start with the positives.
Yeah.
No,
okay.
Kidding.
Okay. I thought you froze. I was like, all right, Chad froze for a minute, everybody.
No, there actually are some positives. They didn't give up 125 points, right? That was good. But they couldn't score. And I think, we've got 4 players who really in this series and maybe even the next series should be at least, I don't know, man, 3 of the top 10 players, if not 4, on the floor.
Yeah.
How do you find what was done? Okay. I don't know how to start this. Okay. It's 90 whatever to whatever late in the game. Donovan Mitchell gets, and again, they weren't getting great looks in the lane. I know the Cavs were having trouble getting to the rim for whatever reason, even though they have all the size. They had the size advantage, but couldn't get a bucket in the paint. So Donovan Mitchell throws up like a 38-footer trying to draw a foul. And can we talk about the challenge rule? I don't think it would have helped the Cavs.
Let's talk about the challenge rule. Let's talk about it.
How can you have 2 successful challenges in a game, 2 for 2, and not be able to use another in crunch time? How do you lose your challenges for being successful with your challenge? I don't understand that rule. And I get it. You don't want a team challenging every play down the stretch. I understand that. I understand. But again, I don't think that it would have even helped the Cavaliers. I think, and they had said it on the broadcast, if they had called for the challenge there and had one available, they probably would have ended up calling a foul on the Cavs. It wouldn't have changed anything, right? It actually would have been worse, to be honest with you. It would have put the Raptors on the free throw line. So the game didn't turn out well anyway, but it would have made that situation even harder for the Cavaliers. So probably, I don't know, if they would have challenged it, it wouldn't have gone well. Let's just say that.
Right.
But that rule it doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand that. So anyway, that being, a moot point, because it wouldn't have mattered either way. If they challenged it and won, they still would have gotten the foul. So I don't understand what Donovan Mitchell's thinking there. I mean, you just need a bucket. You don't have to. You don't need it. Yeah, sure. I mean, you somehow hit a miracle 3 and draw the foul, and you get a free. Okay, you could tie it up. You were down 4 at the time, but you just needed 2. You just needed a bucket right there, right? And you wanted to take as little time as possible doing it. And it takes time to toss up a 38-foot miracle that I just didn't understand that. There were a lot of things during the game. Where did Donovan Mitchell go? That's the best player on the floor. That's the guy. We're talking about paying this guy $70-80 million a year, right? You have to play like you deserve $70-80 million a year to get paid. Somebody might give it to him, but should Cleveland now? I don't know, Eli. I have serious questions. So yeah, I'm concerned. The long answer is the short answer is yes, I'm concerned. That was the long answer before, but the short answer is yes, I'm very concerned.
Yeah, and I get where you're coming from. I mean, Donovan Mitchell kind of looked lost the last 2 games.
Yeah.
But where's James Harden?
I was lost even knowing what to say about it. I don't even know how to. Sorry. It's just.
You're good, but where's James Harden at, right? I asked yesterday on Main Event. 14 shots, and he shot well, 6 of 14. But he doesn't, if he shot another 5 to 6 shots the way he was shooting, he probably makes another, 6 to 10 points. Sure. And the Cavaliers win that basketball game. I know there's a lot of what ifs, but and I know James Harden was brought in here to be, a passer more so and just help with Donovan. But guess what? When that's the game plan, and it doesn't work out, and we need buckets.
Yeah.
I'd like to look at a guy who at one point was averaging 36 points per game in Houston. I get he's 36 years old now, but he's also coming with a pretty lucrative contract, and he's gonna look to be re-signed somewhere, whether it's Cleveland or somewhere else. And it's just the same song and dance with James Harden. And I'm hoping Game 5 at home he can find some mojo. The Cavs win. And maybe we're feeling a little bit better, especially the way Detroit is playing. I mean, Orlando's up 3-1 on Detroit.
My goodness,
they're probably gone. They're probably gone. I mean, let's be real about it. They're probably gone. But, I mean, we've seen crazier things happen, especially in Cleveland. We've seen 3-1 leads go like
We've seen them evaporate. Absolutely.
But it's crazy. Where's James Harden? Where are the bigs? Where's Evan Mobley? Where's Jared Allen? Where is the team that we have put on posters and billboards all across the city and bragged about this core 4, and that's the reason you should buy in as the core 4? Well, if this is the core, it's like a rotten apple. It's not very good anymore. It's really bad, and I'm not happy.
Core 4 right now, yeah.
It's bad, Chad, and it's like a Game 5 is so important, not only for this series.
Oh my gosh!
But it's important for the Cavaliers' future.
Oh, if they lose at home, this team's blown up. I mean, well, not just that they lose Game 5, but if they lose Game 5 at home and then go on to lose this series, I mean, you got to blow this team up. You got to start over.
Yeah, I'm 100% in agreement. Like Double A said yesterday at Main Event, everybody would be on the table. The only one I think that would be safe, and maybe I'm fighting a little bit on this, is Kenny Atkinson. Because you can only coach a dog so much. I mean, you can only coach somebody to want it so bad, and then they got to go out and want it. And you're working with, unfortunately, a guy who has not been to the finals since 2012 in James Harden, and consistently the talk about him is he just does not do what he does in the regular season in the playoffs. And we're seeing it here in Cleveland. We're getting a first-hand look at it. And then Donovan Mitchell, we love Donovan here, And it's so crazy. We talked about before the show. When he's doing great, we call him Spida. When he's not doing good, we call him Donovan. But he just hasn't got past the second round, right? So wouldn't you think that Kenny Atkinson can only coach you so much. So I think he's kind of safe from everything else. But player-wise, everybody's got to go.
Yeah.
Everybody's got to go. Yeah. So
unfortunately,
it's going to be interesting.
Yeah,
bud. It's gonna be crazy. We'll talk about Cavaliers a little bit more tomorrow. I know you had some other thoughts as well. We're just up against it, and I'd be remiss without getting some final thoughts out of you right before we get out of here. Do you have final thoughts, Chad Bryan?
I'll work my final thoughts into what I wanted to say about the Cavs. Listen, I was watching the Spurs and the Blazers, and I told you this before the show. It was like 80-79. The Spurs were up on the Blazers. The series was 2-1 at the time, and I thought maybe we should give the Cavs a little bit of grace. I mean, here are the Spurs. They're struggling with Portland right now. They're only up 2-1. If Portland hits a couple big shots here, you never know, right? Series could be 2-2 as well. I walked out of my living room to get something in the kitchen. I walked back, and it was 90-79, and I thought, the Cavs don't have that gear right now. I mean, they had it a little bit at home in the first couple of games, but they just looked lost in Game 3 and Game 4, and I thought they can't do that to a good team. They can do it to Toronto. Toronto's not a great team. Toronto's okay. They can't do that to Boston. They can't do. I mean, the way over there, you would say the Pistons because they're the 1 seed, but the way Orlando's playing, it's probably going to be Orlando that moves on. So, that's all I've got. The Cavs need someone or some combination of players that have that extra gear, so it can just appear from the outside that they care.
Yeah, sure. Hope they care. I mean, if they don't care, then why should Cavs fans continue to care about the same song and dance in the playoffs?
Yeah.
So
it's frustrating.
Bud. Well, I'll end with some happy final thoughts here. Today, I spent a lot of time being under the weather. We talked about it at the beginning of the show. Cleveland has been hit with allergy/sickness, whatever. It's crazy. Everybody around me, it feels like, has been sick. Everybody they know has been sick. I mean, this is insane. But what I will say is everybody seems to be doing better, getting better. I'm feeling a little bit better. I feel like by tomorrow should be even more pep in my step. So I feel good about that. Today, spent a lot of time listening to music, and I just, dude, if you don't listen to John Mayer, do yourself a favor. Go listen to some John Mayer.
All right.
I spent time today. I've already listened to John Mayer before. It's not before anybody's like, you've never listened to John Mayer. And I've listened to John Mayer before. But this is my, today I got to spend a good time listening to like some old school John Mayer songs, just listening to his catalog. And if you just need a peaceful day, just need to relax from the world for a moment, just put some John Mayer on. It'll make you laugh. It'll make you smile. It'll make you cry. And I think what Jimmy V once said, that's a pretty successful day. You know, if you do 3 things in life, you laugh. What is it? You laugh, you cry, and I believe you smile.
Yeah.
Is it? Yep. So
yeah,
I mean, look. So that's why you listen to John Mayer, listen to good feel good music, and just remember we love you, we appreciate you. It gets a little wonky at times, and especially with this weather change. It's like we're getting out of the winter/spring.
Yeah.
That's what we call it in Cleveland because we don't know what it is. But winter/spring, and depression, seasonal depression, all those things do come up. So just take care of yourself. Check on your loved ones, check on your people, and if somebody's giving you a call, answer it. You may be busy, but just get on the phone with somebody and tell them you love them today. Tell them you love them tomorrow because it's 11 o'clock. So maybe a lot of people are sleeping right now. But if you're one of the people tuning in right now and somebody calls you after the show, make sure you answer and tell them you love them. All right, do it from Eli Moon. All right, that's our final thoughts. That's Chad Bryan. I'm Eli Moon. This has been Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. We will be back tomorrow, 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock, midnight run, of course, after us with Double A Anthony Alford, midnight to 1 a.m. Make sure you give us a follow and like and subscribe at all the socials. That is Inside Edge Net on all the socials. And check out the website, InsideEdgeNetwork.com. Of course, for Chad Bryan, one more time, I am Eli Moon. This has been Inside Edge Primetime, midnight run to follow with Anthony Alford. We'll see you on the flip side.